We have a very special conversation today with a guy from Philadelphia, USA. He is Ophidian Cobra, right?
Yes, Ophidian the Cobra.
Ophidian the Cobra. Okay, nice. So first of all, we would like to know what does Lucha Libre means for you? What this sport means for you?
Uh, Lucha Libre means a lot of different things for me.
Yes.
It not only is it something I love to do and I enjoy doing very much. It's given me the opportunity to perform all over the world and meet all these different people that I don't think I would have ever met before. So it's done a lot for me, as far as my life. But Lucha Libre is something I've watched since I was a child with my family.
Yes.
So it's something that it's always been a part of my life. It's always been a part of everything around me. Growing up in the Philadelphia area, pro wrestling is very popular here. For a long time, it was the home of, like, the epicenter of pro wrestling, especially back in the 90s and such with ECW and companies like that. So Lucha Libre is more than just something I perform. It's something that has been ingrained in my everyday life since childhood. It's everything. It's what I do. It's what I do for fun. It's what I do as a job. It's what I do when I'm, in my downtime. It's what I watch. It's all encompassing.
Oh, that's good. And how many times do you practice per day?
So I teach in Philadelphia, or did. I'm sorry.
All right.
I just moved to a new company. I was teaching with Chikara Pro, which is a Lucha Libre-based company in Philadelphia, and I've been teaching there for many years, multiple nights a week. So training isn't something that just happens like, once in a while. It's, every single day. I now work with a company called uh, Worldwide Dojo, which is also out of Philadelphia. But it's an everyday thing. You go to the gym
Yes.
4 days a week. You go to a wrestling ring and train during the week after that, and then you perform on the weekends. Or if you're lucky enough, you also get to perform during the week, depending on the company. But it's as much as we can.
Oh, nice. And I would like to, well, you told us about your beginning. How did you start in this sport? And how was the beginning when you was starting Lucha Libre?
So near my home where I grew up,
Yes.
there's a arena in South Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
Used to be called Viking Hall. It used to be called the 23 New Alhambra Arena. It's gone through many different names. Depending on the years, it's changed names. But it's always been known as the ECW Arena.
Oh, okay.
So I would go there as a kid and watch shows every
Yes.
single weekend. I would never miss a show growing up. It's where I spent all of my money in high
Yes.
school and such.
Yeah.
And as I got old enough to, because you have to be 18 in Pennsylvania, you must be
Yeah.
18 years old to train.
Okay.
So as soon as I was old enough, I went to a school that is inside the ECW arena, or was at the time.
Yes.
I would go to shows there. I talked to the wrestlers there. There was a school that was happening there. So me and my friends, we would grow up wrestling each other, in our backyards and fun, and until we were old enough to actually do it. So me and my friends had a wrestling ring that was being thrown out that we rebuilt in a backyard and played in that, for years before we were able to actually do it with a school and a company.
Wow, that's good. And what are the challenges that you have in this sport? The biggest challenges.
I think public perception.
Okay.
People that don't watch wrestling don't understand what it is.
Yes.
People don't understand what Lucha Libre is. They don't understand what Japanese pro wrestling or the Lancashire catch styles. There are all these different variants of professional wrestling that exist in the world. For years, pro wrestling lived under a veil of secrecy. Back in the early 1900s to later 1900s, pro wrestling was perceived as real sport, and I think that did a disservice to what we do. We are sport, but we aren't. We are entertainment first and foremost.
Yes.
So a lot of people have this misconception when they go to wrestling shows that we're trying to deceive them, when they watch wrestling on TV.
Yes.
And I don't believe that to be the case. We aren't attempting to deceive you. We're trying to help give you an escapist experience, something that you can forget about your troubles outside of, in your real world and be
Yes.
entertained for the time that you watch a wrestling show,
Yes.
for the 2 or 3 hours you spend. So it's that perception, people not understanding what we do and how we do it, and not understanding the actual mentality and the work that goes into creating a performance.
Oh, nice. And what is the best part of your job? What is the best thing? Yeah.
The food I get to eat when I travel.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's the
Um,
best thing. Yeah.
uh, I love traveling. I love all that, but I think I enjoy teaching.
Uh-huh.
Almost more than I enjoy performing. There's a sense of satisfaction that passing knowledge on to others gives that
Yes.
performing never could, right?
Yes.
So being able to help others find their love of pro wrestling, being able to help others discover that they're good at professional wrestling or good at lucha libre,
Yes.
that is really, I think, the biggest joy that wrestling has given me, is being able to share wrestling with others and help people discover their love of it.
Oh, nice. And what emotion do you feel when you are fighting? When you fight?
That can really run the
Mhm.
gamut. There's so much that you feel. There's so much that you go through emotionally while you're performing. You can't just pretend to have emotion. While you're performing,
Yes.
you have to experience it as well,
All
or
right.
else the audience doesn't believe it to be authentic.
Yes.
So, wrestling can be happy, it can be sad, it can be funny, it can be
Yeah.
scary,
Yeah.
right? Wrestling, Lucha Libre can be all of these things in one match,
Exactly.
from start to finish. So I think if I'm doing my job correctly, I
Mhm.
experience the same things the audience should be experiencing, or at least on the opposite end. If
All
I'm
right.
being scary and they're scared, then if they're scared, then I feel like I'm being scary. If they're sad, I feel like I'm doing something that is, I'm in the moment with them.
Oh, nice.
And
And mhm.
yeah,
And if you could play another sport, what would it be? What would it be?
another
Yeah.
sport.
Yes.
I could. Growing up, I took 12 years of different martial arts. Goju-Ryu,
Oh, all right.
Taekwondo, is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh,
So I
nice.
think if I didn't end up in wrestling, I would be a martial artist.
Yes.
Um,
Wow.
and this is I believe that pro wrestling is a type of martial art.
Oh, nice.
I believe pro wrestling because you're learning movement with your body, you're learning how to attack, you're learning how to defend, and we just happen to be using it for entertainment as opposed to practical, fight.
Yes.
So I still think I ended up in the world of martial arts, even if I
Yes.
didn't. People don't necessarily perceive wrestling as or lucha libre as a martial art.
Wow, that's very good. And what word describes you?
One word or
Yes. Only one word.
oh, one word.
Oh yeah, if you want to have a like phrase, you can. Yeah, you can say that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you my entrance,
Oh, okay.
which is I am venomous.
Oh,
I
okay.
am vile. I am the master of snake style.
Wow, that's very good. Very good. And yeah, what you give up to compete, what you can sell, what you don't do for compete for practice this sport.
Um, I don't think I've given up anything that is detrimental to life. I think, or detrimental to the personal. I think
Yes.
what you do lose though when you choose to pursue something like this full time, and I don't think it only applies to pro wrestling. I believe it applies to music or acting or any kind of skill that requires you to really put time in.
Yes.
Into it like this does, and I think that's time away from family, time away from friends, those moments that you weren't there for, like birthdays or anniversaries or
Yes.
family get-togethers, those things that you miss because you're
Yeah.
on the road performing or you're teaching, or you're learning how to do this craft instead of spending time doing that stuff. It's the sacrifice that you need to make in order to be good at any type of art.
Oh, nice. And well, just to finish, we would like to know about your character, about your name, about your mask, and where all of this come from.
So I create my masks. I make them.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Behind me, you might be able to see the
Yes.
sewing stuff.
Yeah, very good.
I have a business out of my home
All right.
with my wife, where we make the mascaras and all the gear that
Yes.
you see a performer wearing, as well as content and other things related to pro wrestling.
Wow.
But I've been Ophidian The Cobra for 13 years now.
Wow.
And it's an evolution, I think, of who and what I am. I think the combination of the way that I move in the ring, the way that I speak when I'm in the ring, it's all right. Obviously, the mask that I choose to make, it all comes together to form Ophidian, which Ophidian means snake-like in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things, all things I enjoy and love in life, like being inspired from 80s cartoons like G.I. Joe, being Serpentor, and stuff like movies like Five Deadly Venoms, which has a lot of it's a snake style master in it. All these little things throughout my life has helped inform the kind of character that I would like to play as I've gotten older or gotten into the world of professional wrestling.
All right. So something that you would like to add, or something that you want to say to the broadcasting community?
Well, I can say these two things. If you've never seen Lucha Libre live yourself, in Toronto, at Lee's Palace, which is, I believe, in downtown Toronto, March 19th, I will be the main event of a show in a competing for the Lucha Premier Championship.
Wow.
If you've never seen Lucha Libre before, Demand Lucha is a wonderful company to see for your first time. There's many other luchador performers coming in for the show, like Ray Horace, Frightmare, Murloc. There's many other luchadors that will be on that show as well, and it's at a great venue in downtown Toronto. If you've never seen Lucha Libre, if you don't necessarily want to see it live in person, give it a shot. Check it out. Go into it open-minded, in the same way that you would go when you watch a movie. And you sit down and you watch any Marvel movie and you just want 2 hours of superheroes being superheroes. Lucha Libre we're superheroes that you get to see in person, that you get to touch and interact with. And it's a type of art that doesn't exist anywhere else. Pro wrestling, Lucha Libre is unique. There's nothing else in the world like it. It's the only place that you can see a superhero fly off the top rope and do an insane aerial feat and then land in front of you and give you a high five and go back to wrestling, and doing feats of acrobatics and all types.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, and we're gonna be in the event. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.